Hi, my name is Yusuf and you are watching my news channel. Today we are the 19th of December 2022 and you are watching one of my new weather videos. So this week there will be a cold wave over the United States. Yesterday I saw actually a tweet from one of my friends living in the United States who posted the weather forecast, and in that weather forecast I could actually see that temperatures were going to plunge in the United States. This prompted me to check the Polar Vortex as well as weather maps, and I found something interesting. So there will be a cold wave, and I will come to that in a moment, show you actually the temperature anomalies. But first, let's take a look at the polar vortex, because believe it or not, it is caused yet again by the polar vortex, and I do believe that most temperature extremes are caused by it. So it is supposed to be over the polar region and have a nice circular shape. This is not the case. It is completely in the wrong part of the world. Yes, you might say 1,000 kilometers removed from where it should be, and it is stretched. This causes this downward motion over the polar region, and this is what's so important, because if we put, let me just show you an overlay of the jet stream and actually go to Thursday or Friday, you will see, and I will show you in the moment in an image with an arrow that I made, an edited image. But first let's take a look. So there you can actually, here you can actually see it. This is Friday, I believe, and the jet stream will be crossing the polar region, and this is not supposed to happen. It is supposed to go over here and then wave over the mid-latitude. So this is an extreme elongation going from Siberia all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. This is not supposed to happen, and this is what's causing this unusual cold wave. First of all, let's take a look back at the polar vortex, and I put an arrow to show you. So a downward motion means at the surface you will have the opposite. Warm air will be entering, following actually the opposite direction, and so cold air will be going down. Warm air goes up, cold air goes down. This is actually what's happening because of the polar vortex. And let me show you the jet stream. So you have this elongation which plunges almost to the Gulf of Mexico, actually to the Gulf of Mexico, going from Siberia to the Gulf of Mexico. We are talking thousands of kilometers of erratic jet stream behavior, and this causes cold from the polar region to be sucked literally all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. Now, of course, it gets diluted when it reaches the Gulf of Mexico, but you will see in the temperature map that this is exactly what is happening. Here we have the temperature, the normal temperature of the world, of the global map. And if I move the slider to see the forecast, we can see at some point, starting from Thursday, I believe, yes. This is Friday, this is Saturday. So this cold, as you can see, pours in. And if I show you the temperature anomaly, it will become that much clearer. So temperature anomaly means below average, and this is quite a lot. This is 30 degrees below seasonal values. So here we are talking about minus 40 to minus 50. If I put the temperature back again, minus 40 to minus 50, this is this temperature gradient. And as I move the slider, this cold goes where it is not supposed to be. The frost line is not supposed to go to the Gulf of Mexico, because here these are coastal regions with palm trees, sunshine, and beaches, and typically you will not have a weather which goes below 0 degrees, but it does this time, and in quite a dramatic fashion. Now, of course, here if you experience just below 0 degrees, this is not really an issue. But I'm thinking about the regions, those states which will have temperatures of minus 30, minus 40, as you can see, and this will be quite an issue, because I'm pretty sure they are not used to this kind of cold. In the northern parts, yes, Alaska, Canada, they are used to the temperatures, even if we are talking about extremes. But the same extremes over here, that's a different story. So I made this video to warn people living in these regions, and let me just look at the map. Talking about South Dakota, North Dakota, Minnesota, Iowa, Illinois, Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas. This is where this cold will be plunging to. We are talking about quite dramatic temperatures. So keep in mind, if you experience minus 30 with wind chill, it becomes that more dangerous. These temperatures are, of course, temperatures denominated in Celsius. Let's take a look at the United States, because I do believe, yes, these are temperatures in Fahrenheit for those who are used to temperatures in Fahrenheit. Let me just go to, yes, Friday, going from Thursday to Friday. So we have here, for example, minus 29 Fahrenheit, minus 15, minus 10, minus 13, minus 6, minus 5. So for those people who like temperatures in Fahrenheit, I will show briefly this map, but I'm used actually to Celsius. So, but this will give you an idea if you're used actually to Fahrenheit, how cold it will become. This is especially important for people, for example, homeless people, the elderly, sick people who will experience hardship in such extreme temperatures. So if you know people who might be susceptible to experience hardship, please how do I say this? Warn them of this cold, because people might actually die in this kind of cold, especially homeless people. And this is all happening because we are in a negative oscillation. So we have this polar vortex situation, and this erratic polar vortex creates a negative phase because the jet stream slows down. And in a negative phase, cold plunges into the mid-latitudes. This is exactly what already happened in Europe previous week, and I can testify because it was very cold in Belgium. Less extreme than in the United States, of course, but then again we have the Atlantic Ocean that actually counteracts this cold, these so-called westerlies. But even so, we did have briefly cold temperatures, but in the United States this is going to be extreme, because here we are talking about cold coming from the polar region straight all the way to the central United States and reaching all the way, the frost line reaching all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. So this is quite an important situation, and kind of dramatic if you ask me. So there you have it, cold temperatures. By the way, if you haven't done already, don't forget to subscribe to my news channel. This way you won't miss any future videos, and you might also hit the like button if you actually like the video so far. This is again the Arctic oscillation, and like I mentioned in previous videos, by the way, if you haven't done already, it's better to watch my previous videos also, so that you can understand what is happening to the polar vortex. And there I mentioned we might have a negative Arctic oscillation when I looked at the polar vortex, and this is actually happening in December in a quite dramatic fashion. -4 Arctic oscillation is very negative. We are still a bit further from -5 or -6, but this is very extreme. This only happens when we also have a sudden stratospheric warming, and we might this year have a sudden stratospheric warming because conditions are already there. We have a polar vortex which is erratic, it's slowing down, and it is stretched to the extreme. So we might have, let me show it again, we might have a sudden stratospheric warming and a polar vortex split. This is again polar vortex, but on Friday. And if I go back, Oh, you know what? Let me just show you. This is how it looks now on the 19th of December. And it is quite dramatic. And frankly, I don't believe the forecast of the polar vortex because it's always, almost always wrong. They show that it regains its shape, it becomes normal, but each time I realize that it stays erratic. So something fundamentally is wrong with the atmosphere, and the models cannot factor in this anomaly. The models always show how the polar vortex is supposed to be, how it is supposed to regain its shape, but it never happens. So this will probably remain like this. So there you have it. Now you know why it will be happening this week. It's only a forecast, but I do believe that the chances are high that the United States will experience a cold wave. So, like I said, if you haven't done already, don't forget to subscribe to my channels so you won't miss any future videos. I hit the like button if you want. And as usual, I will end the video. Before I end it, I will cite one of my philosophical quotes. This time is number 73. The fountain of content must spring in the mind, and he who has so little knowledge of human nature as to seek happiness by changing anything but his own disposition will waste his life in fruitless efforts and multiply the griefs which he purposes to remove. So what does this quote actually mean? It means that doesn't matter what you undertake in life to improve it, if you don't change your own state of mind, you will never discover what is wrong in your life, and you will be prone to commit the same errors over and over again. So that's basically the meaning of this quote. And this is the end of the video. Thank you for watching, and I'll be seeing you next time. Bye bye, everyone.